Hello everyone and welcome to Learn Python by Solving Problems. Now, before we get into the course, I want to make sure that you have all the knowledge you need to be able to solve these exercises. So I will give you a quick introduction to Python, everything you need to know, the basics. I want to make sure that you know everything to be able to solve this. Now, if it's anything that you don't understand, you should watch it again, because what I'm going to teach you now, these are the basics of Python. So you'll use this like in every program. So you need to understand all of this information very well. If you are someone that is more advanced in Python, you can just skip to the exercises. But if you want to stay, you are welcome. To get started, let's write our first program. Okay, I will explain to you in a minute what we did. And to run a program, we go here to this play button, we select run code, and as you can see, we have here the output hello world. Now, to give you an explanation what we did, we are going to write our code here and the result will be printed down here, alright? As you can see, I write hello world and it prints out a hello world. Now, to print things, to output something from your program, you will use this print, as you can see here, print, open and close parentheses, and inside this parentheses you will put whatever you want to appear down here. So in this case I put hello world, and as you can see it has some quotation marks. Alright, it doesn't matter if it's a single quotation mark or if it's a double quotation mark. If you see, I try to run it now, it's the same result, hello world. One thing you need to be aware, if you start with double quotation marks, just make sure that you finish with double quotation mark, because if you use two here and one here, when you try to run the code, as you can see, it shows you error. Now, why do we write this inside the quotation marks? It's because whenever you write something inside quotation marks, the computer will see this as a string. A string is basically text, characters, whatever it is, that the computer will use it as it is inside here. So if you try to run this without the quotation marks, as you can see now, it goes red everywhere. So yes, it's not gonna run. As you can see, invalid syntax down here. This is because now the computer thinks that this hello world is a piece of code, but it's not, it's just some text that we want to print. Hope that makes sense. And you can put anything here. You can put, for example, like this, symbols, numbers. If you run this, as you can see, this is what it's gonna print. So whatever it's inside the quotation marks, it's a string and it's going to be printed down here. Now, if you want to print a number, you can use the quotation marks, that's fine, but you can also use it just how it is, because numbers can be printed. As you can see here, we have 3, and if we put it inside the quotation marks, let me run it again, here we have 3 again. Now the difference between this one and this one in the output is no difference, but inside the program, one of them is a number and another one is a string. So we will see later how we can do different operations with numbers and how we can do that with strings as well. Now, another thing, if you try to print something like this, 3 plus 2, what do you think it will print? Well, it will print actually the result. As you can see, it prints 5. and let's say we have -1, again prints the result, which is 4. Now question, a quick challenge for you. How can you print this as it is? I want this to be printed just like this. Well, you select everything, put it around the quotation marks and hit run. As you can see now, it prints it exactly as it is. I hope that makes sense. Now, when we will go to problems, we will have the prompt, and I want to show you now what this is. These are comments. As you can see, we have some text here and we have this hashtag in front of it. So if I try to copy this text and put it here, as you can see, it goes all red, errors and everything, because again Python doesn't know this is a text. The program thinks, okay, this is some piece of code, but I don't know what this is. So to tell the program, no, this is not code, this is actually just some text, it's a comment, you put a hashtag in front, and as you can see now it's green. And whenever you run this program, let's run it again, you see it only prints this line, it's skipped. Alright, so the computer doesn't read this line. Whatever you have hashtag in front of it is not reading it. If you go to a new line and you try to write something, as you can see, it's not okay. So you will have to add hashtag again, and for every line that you want to comment or that you want to skip in your program, you'll have to add a hashtag in front, and this will be a comment. Now imagine that maybe you want to share your code with someone else, so you can explain what you did in your code, or if you have like a very large problem, you know, with multiple steps, you can just break it down step by step in comments and start writing code for each step. This is some uses for comments. Okay, now another thing about the print. Let's go down here, and I have this star, as you can see here. So let's run it here. As you can see, if I run the program now, it will actually print me down here a star. Okay, so this is because I want you to understand how a computer reads the program. So reads your code. It starts from here, from the top line. Okay, starts with print, and it reads this one, it prints it, then goes down, reads this one, print, read, print. You know, this is how it works. Now if we want to add here, okay, let's try to run it now. What do you think it will happen? It will be a space between, or it will not be a space between? Okay, if you run the code, as you can see, there is no space between, because simply a line that has no code inside of it is going to be skipped. Sorry, my mouse just went crazy. Now it's better. Okay, so how do we add an empty line between this and this? We can do that again with the print. And if you just write print and open and close parentheses, this will be an empty line. If we run the code now, as you can see, we have an empty line here. Now the same thing will happen if you do \n, which basically means new line. So the computer will read this print statement, will go to here, will print this. Alright, and this, it will see this, so it will say, okay, after this it's a new line. \n has to be inside quotation marks in a print statement. So if you run it now, as you can see, it has a new line. And another thing, if you try to run a \n outside quotation marks, well, it's all red, so I'm not even trying to run this. Okay, now one more thing. Now, what do you think will happen if we write an empty print statement and inside we put just this, a new line. So what do you think it will happen? Just have a little thought. Okay, so basically this is a empty print statement, so it will leave a new line, and because we have the command for new line inside the empty statement, because this is just new line, alright, it's not gonna print anything, this is just a command to make a new line, you will have another new line, so there should be 2 new lines. And as we run the code now, you can see we have now 2 empty lines down here. Okay, this I want to show you this because I want you to see how a computer reads all of this. Look, for example, we take these 2 print statements and we move them on top. We get this. As you can see, this is how it's printed, yes, because the computer doesn't know, okay, this is a star, I should print it in this order. No, the computer just does what you write inside the code for it to do. Okay, now let's go back here to our introduction. Another thing we can do with print, it's also to print multiple stuff. So if you want to print like a string, then you can use a comma and you can print a number, use another comma and you can print another string. So if we run this now, as you can see, we have this. Now when you use the comma, you will have a space here in the output, so even if I don't do this, alright, if I write like this comma is automatically a space between 2 elements that are inside that print, so as you can see it's the same output. And this is it for now. This is the first lesson about the print statement. Just watch it again if you think something is unclear, and don't forget, if you have any questions, ask them in the comments down below, or you can go to the Facebook page and ask them there. Okay, so I'll see you guys in the next lesson.